It's the save sessions, the sessions you always want to save. What's going on today? Me and TJ got a pretty interesting topic for you guys. It's video games that you were surprised about, specifically like maybe a feature that's in a game that you were like on the fence about, but then as you played it, you got more into it.
Or maybe
TJ?
if it's just a certain genre you didn't think you would like, maybe you're not a big fan of this genre, but for some reason this game spoke to you and you kind of gravitated toward it. Bruce, you want to kick us off?
I would say we're gonna stick in the superhero genre for a second because
Superhero genre, let's go.
my feature is a part of Infamous, right? And Infamous is because for me, that was my introduction to the butterfly effect in a game, to where like depending on
Mm,
your decision, a different outcome can be made. So, for example,
kind of like the honor system in Red Dead Redemption 2, like different things can happen depending on like your honor.
probably because I know, prime example, there was an Infamous one. There's a mission where you have to disrupt like an evil substance from getting into the public's water supply because you just nuked everything. And
Mhm.
you can either do it, take the shot to the face, or you can have a random bystander do it by threatening him by being like, buzz, 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 turn that shit. So that was really cool because like once you get locked into a path, you're kind of stuck with that path unless you know like if you're like unless you hit infamous you can't change no matter what. But you can go from like neutral to vigilante to a good person to hero. Then you got bad, worse, infamous. So it's like the more you
That's
play.
exactly like Red Dead Redemption 2, where it's like you have the honor system, and depending on like your actions, if you're honorable, if you're killing people for no reason, or if you're helping people, or deciding like to let certain people go, even if they should die, that can sway your honor which way. Not only will it change the dialogue, but it doesn't really change too much aside from like dialogue and like in cutscenes
Mhm.
because I'm pretty sure no matter what your honor is, like it will stay the same. The choice you have will, stay the same.
Yeah,
But from what you're talking, it's like ungodly different.
yeah, because it's just like things do change. There's different cutscenes. Your appearance changes. Your powers changes. Because you know, if you're more heroic, you get blue or lightning. You get more light colors on your outfit. You become more the symbol of heroism, if you want to be cheesy about it, to
Mhm.
be honest. Or if you become infamous, you get like some dark, sidious veins in your face, and you're just like
Mhm.
black lightning and red lightning and stuff like that, and you get like more destructive powers like a electrical grenade or the ability to like shoot a violent vortex at somebody to ricochet bullets or whatever. So that was a really
Mhm.
interesting one for me just because I it's been a while since like not the superhero genres and is different, but it's like how they handled that version of superhero is just
Mhm.
pretty peak in my opinion.
Yeah. Nice. So that's gonna be your first one.
Yeah, we're gonna start small.
Infamous. Now, me, it's not exactly a feature because I just focused more on games I didn't think would like be my cup of tea, but I just tried anyway. Just because I heard so many people talking about it. I've done it before, like I've talked about with Horizon Zero Dawn. Didn't look like my cup of tea, but I wanted to try because everyone said it was good. Wasn't my cup of tea, but this one I tried out of sheer spite. Not sheer spite, but sheer curiosity because, like I said, Video Game Donkey, he highly recommended this game. I heard about this game since what, 2015, 2017 when it came out. And that game was, of course, Bruce, you still need to beat it. You still need to play it. Persona 5.
The
For me
Sonya 5.
specifically, for specifically Royale, because here's the thing, even though I do have quite a decent amount of turn-based RPGs, I actually don't like a lot of the anime RPGs just because I feel they're very nummy, generic, or just don't hold my attention. None of the character designs are that interesting, so all of them just kind of blend and mesh together. But with Persona, they have such unique, interesting character models, and honestly, the message and the mode in which you play the game is ungodly different, unlike anything I've ever experienced up to that point. Now, Persona's been around for a long time at this point, but the fact that there's the metaverse. That's how it happens. You're just a normal kid, just doing normal
Normal
kid
kid
things.
things.
Except we kind of said the same thing. But you're just a kid doing normal kid things, except you have like the story of like he got into some trouble and he got arrested, automatically making a decent backstory for the kid himself to make him more interesting, despite the fact he doesn't talk, except for, a few little like quip lines, throughout the game. But then you meet your classmate, and then suddenly everything changes. And then there are these two game modes where it's a high action turn based RPG with Pokemon style like weakness mechanics, and also the ability to capture other personas to use them. And then, along with very unique boss fights, a lot of them with unique stories, or it's just a cute little simulator game where all you're doing is just trying to be the best friend you can be to all these different people.
In my opinion, the best part of the game is the life simulator.
Honest to God, yeah. Sometimes it can be the funnest part because sometimes, yeah, yeah, going actually through the game and playing, playing through all the dungeons or I forget what they're called, palaces. Playing through all the palaces, that is fun in its own right, especially with all the unique and creative levels that they have for it. Or even then, just like who is your character gonna romance? Who is your character wanting to be friends with? Hey, like Ryuji wants to hang out, but it's like, but Lady An also kind of wants to hang out. Which is your choice? Maybe neither of them. Maybe you can work on your character's own personal stats.
The homies are always the choice.
Hmm. So so that is just really cool. And again, I did not think I would like this game. I really didn't, but it became one of it has the you have a piece of sushi out of your mouth.
Oh no.
There you go. Yeah, boy. But yeah, you but oh, you made me lose my train of thought. But yeah, it's just one of those games I didn't think I would like, but then actually getting into it and it having, in my opinion, one of the absolute best stories we've already talked about on the show before. But the whole plot line with Dr. Maruki was just absolute peak and like touched me on a personal level. Yeah, something like Persona. It's also become one of my things. Actually, fun fact: I picked up Persona 3 Reload. Reload is still really good, and I do really like the characters. My problem with the game is there are no real palaces. You're just going through this version of like the metaverse or mementos. Like in Persona 5, you have mementos, which you need to, get all the way through for the to beat the game. But then you also have the palaces to keep it more interesting with villains. In this one, so far there aren't really that many villains. I mean, I did come across the villain. I don't even remember what his name was. He's shirtless all the time for some reason. But ba- but basically there's only like the mementos section called Tartarus, and you just go through it constantly, which is fine. But at the same time, I feel like without the palaces or any type of like any enemy to really strive for, sometimes the game can feel a bit mind-numbing repetitive with just going through it the whole time. So that's why I really am glad I went on to Persona 5. I'm excited for Persona 6 and Persona 4 Remake. So it's very much gotten me. I'm now hooked on the series, despite the fact I'm not a big fan of anime RPGs. But that's just one of them for me. Bruce, what's your next one?
Easy. Honestly, it's gonna be like open world games because for example, my pick
Open world
for
games, like what you
this
mean?
Just Cause specifically because it's like having the freedom to do whatever you want with a little grapple hook gun and like you can hook a
Oh yeah,
car
yeah,
to a
yeah.
plane and just watch it be like wee.
Yeah, Just
It's
Cause.
kind
I
of
remember
funny, bro.
playing Just Cause 3 a little bit. I did not make it more than like 4 hours into that game, mainly just because I would have liked more of an interesting story or something to keep me pushing through it. I know it's some people's jam, it wasn't really my jam, but I can totally see that. Like you're one of those people, it's like sometimes you don't care about the story or realism, you just
Yeah,
care
you're just trying to
how
see
much of
what
this
dumb
world can I
shit you
fuck
can
up.
do with like it's specifically like with Just Cause. You want to see how much dumb shit you could do with a grapple hook. What can you connect to the grapple hook? Because like I'm one of those guys. I connected bad guys to the car and just drove off. every time.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I was really trying to be petty, I would get on someone's car, grapple hook it, and then grapple hook it to like an oncoming truck and watch it just get yanked. It is the funniest thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's just really, at least in the case of Just Cause. There's other open world
Yeah.
games like
There's
Red Dead and
other
all that
open worlds that can
hoopla,
do that, just
but
like
it, you
Just
know,
like I remember Red Dead Redemption 2, there was this trend of like just having a lasso and like getting on a train and then lassoing people while you're moving on the train to make them look like they're going like a million miles per hour just
yeah.
because you can do it.
Oh, see, I would hogtie Nick up all the time, and every time he flinched, I shot him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It's
he
kind of
died before
like
the train got there, but it was the point that counts. I hogtied him.
It's also kind of like Metal Gear Solid 5, where the Phantom Pain, where it's basically a game where the story sucks, but it doesn't matter because it gives you a gigantic just freedom of gameplay.
Another one is Far Cry. Far Cry is so random to me. I'm just like, I'm over here shooting people. I'm trying to heal. Next thing, you're just like,
Yeah, that
it's
yeah,
like,
that's just the healing mechanic, which I always thought was just super weird.
I mean, it's
Like as
really
long
interesting because you can conquer the game however you want, kind of like how every open world game is. But it was just like my
hmm
introduction to open worlds were also open world shooters primarily. So like an
hmm
open world shooter just doesn't sound right because it's like it doesn't seem to make sense because you're just driving in cars, doing drive-bys, riding elephants, hucking spears, and you're like, what am I supposed to be doing? Why am I killing these people again? Like what? One
if
of
we're
the
talking
games,
about
it's
open
like,
world, if we're talking
ugh.
about open world, we have to talk about, in my opinion, the goat of the open world so far, and for me, that is the Breath of the Wild open world, where you can go anywhere and do anything you want, basically, however you want to do it. Like if you want to go up to the mountain, well, the thing is, the mountain is a volcano, and if you go there too soon, like your weapons will start going on fire, and if you go too deep in, you will catch on fire. And I've seen different ways of doing it where there are these fireproof lizards where you can do make an elixir out of them, make yourself fireproof. There's an armor set you can do. Once you buy the armor set, you no longer need fireproof lizards or whatever. Or some mad lads I seen, they get the fireproof armor, but how do they get through it? No fireproof lizards. They just hoard a bunch of food, and as they're going along, just just shovel in all their food to keep their health going while they make it through the mountain. And that's just like three ways instantly you can do something. Which I really think that was one of Breath of the Wild's like biggest strengths, is because of. Hang on,
uh,
oh holy God! I hope this.
you
I
just froze.
no.
You just froze.
You froze too. You froze too, and you had no. Hang on. Ah, shit. What can I use? Uh, you basically had like a little sushi roll, and you were like,
Oh yeah, I was doing
you
this
were.
because I saw you frozen. I was like,
No, you were no. That wasn't what you froze too. You froze with the sushi like you about to munch on it. You froze right there.
you froze as you were going.
hmm
That's crazy.
Oh man, unfortunately you came back before I could take a picture of how you looked. Unfortunately the audience will see how I look, but no one's going to see how you looked because I'm not recording on my end. But anyway, what I was saying about Breath of the Wild, the cool thing about Breath of the Wild is the whole draw of the game is you can tackle whatever mission you want to tackle in any way you want to tackle it.
See, my thing is like the concept of them are really fun, but it's just I never fully understand because like it's too big for me to complete it most of the time, which is another reason why I'm not like into it as much as I would like to be.
hmm Well, that's always the thing. Is like if you got heavy ADHD, like a lot of times there will just be things that distract you. However, in some games, most of the time, sometimes I get bored of just jacking around. Like, okay, what was my objective again? And then just oh gung ho to whatever it was.
Pretty much. Because it's like
hmm
I've done so many side objectives. You told me none of these were the mission. Okay, okay.
That's how I felt
Opens
with playing
menu.
Skyrim. where it's
Yeah,
like a lot of times I was just following random markers. I'm like, I don't really know what's a main mission or not. I'm just having fun, just infinitely grinding through all these,
I saw a
caves or whatever.
vampire. Fusroda. Ah.
Like half the time, the first time I played it, like back in high school, I was not paying attention to the story in the slightest. All I was doing was walking into caves, slash, 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 killing everything, and then walking out. I was basically like, kind of like how our boy Wick is with Elden Ring. I didn't care what it was. If it could die, I was trying to kill it.
Dang, he would flip out if he heard you say that.
hmm
Do you have another one for us?
Another one for us? Yeah. So basically, the next game that didn't really look like it would be my jam, but really is, and it's starting to become my jam, is indie games. Specifically, the one that drew me mostly to them was Hollow Knight. There is a spider on my monitor. Go away. Holy shit, it's still alive. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted. What was I talking about?
Indie games.
I like how my monitor moved, but I don't think the camera moved a bit, so no one saw anything.
I mean, it
But
wobbled, but I was like,
mm,
okay.
the wobbly, 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 woo. Let me send to myself again. There we go. But nah, something like Hollow Knight is something that absolutely got me more into indie games. And even then, there are things like Shovel Knight, which I'm heavily into. I love, like, I played a little bit of it, but like something like Celeste, like Undertale. And even then, I would even consider Sonic Mania a little bit of an indie title.
Is it?
hmm
Maybe Sonic. I think Superstar would be more of a indie title.
Well, what is it?
I think Superstar, like Sonic Superstar. I think that's what it's called.
I don't think so. I'm gonna look it up. What? Sonic Superstar. I don't think so. I think that was like an actual, like when I'm talking indie, I'm talking like no major publishers. Like, sure, they had the backing of Sega when they did it, but it was a small team, the Radiohead team that made Sonic Mania.
Mm.
There was Superstars. Yeah, it was. It was made by Sonic Team, so I wouldn't really consider that indie. That's
Mm.
not really indie. And
Gotcha.
even then, something like Expedition 33, that is barely an indie title. But what I'm talking about is like those games are like, they look kind of like low key, like they were working with what they had, but they like affirm some sort of like genuine style, like, to fill out the world or fill out the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's actually something we should do. Unless you don't play a lot of indie games. Do you play a lot of indie games?
I don't know.
I mean, what was that? Cult of the Lamb or whatever
All right, I got that.
that you can't really like.
Fury. I got Fury. That's a I don't know what that is. I don't know how to classify that game actually, but it's
hmm
like one of them ones where you got to dodge a bunch of shit and hit the enemy a certain amount of times and progress the story.
I think I know the game you're talking about. I don't think I played that one, but I think I know what you're talking about because I think also Video Game Donkey talked about that one too. But there are quite a few just indie games that are just a treasure trove for just so many unique, interesting mechanics or art styles. But like I said, the one that stuck out to me the most was Hollow Knight because it is a little bit of a Souls-like, where if you die, all of your geo, which is your coins, go away, and then you have to fight a spirit of yourself in order to get them back. And if you die again before that, you lose all that. Top of that, it has a little bit of difficulty. It has a little bit of a learning curve, even on like an easier difficulty. There are only two difficulties: the normal one and one where death is permanent. So if you ever die, you start over. I actually just recently picked it back up just because it was so fun. And sometimes I play Hollow Knight, and I either play Hollow Knight or Spectre or Torment all the way. Hit my mic all the way through, just because they're genuine, short, fun bursts of experience.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
Okay. I want to say I
I'd
don't
say if you're.
personally know any indies that I have because a lot of them that aren't really considered indie. But I think the closest to indie that I would be I have played would be Fury. I played Cult. I, oh wow, that was
Ooh,
disgusting.
oh,
Slime.
I heard every bit of that. Why does your body make so many noises? I hate it.
I don't know. I don't know if Slime Rancher counts, but
Slime Rancher, never even heard of that one.
exactly. It's kind of like a monster catcher farm game. Like
Mm,
you capture them with your gun, you put them in a little farm, and you harvest them to do whatever task is that they're supposed to be able to do, which is
hmm
like the whole appeal of it because they're just cute slimes and all that stuff. And I guess the Minecraft, if that still counts as an indie game at the moment.
Not anymore. It used to back in the day, but it's not really anymore.
So I was like, games like Minecraft also would be a part of like that, in my opinion, because it's just you know you're just doing some
Mm.
mindless fun. I think simulator games should count as indie games because they're just simulating things we do in real life.
It
But
really it depends. What counts as an indie game is if they've had a major like publisher like backing them,
mm,
like or if they had any major like AAA studio backing them. The reason like Hollow Knight is indies because it was literally made by three people, and though they're called Team Cherry. It's a very small team that took forever to make the game, and even then, like one of my favorites, Cuphead. Cuphead is an indie game, so it's one of those things where they didn't. Sure, they had publishers that will publish their game, but no real major support from them.
mm, okay.
Like their team's still very small, still very like independent. Maybe or even maybe had a little bit of help, but not much. Like the publisher is like, yeah, your idea sounds cool, but we don't know if your thing will still like impress us. Impress us why your game, should have have our attention.
Mm,
Because
got you,
that's
got you.
unfortunately just kind of how it is nowadays.
I mean, indie games are making it come up, so I think that's perfectly fine.
Indie games are always making it come up, but even then there's some ones that I know of uh kind of like how do I put it? Like kind of betrayed the audience. I almost think wasn't No Man's Sky a little bit of an indie game, or am I misremembering that?
I could see
I just
how you
remember it
could
was
think
one
it
of
would be one.
the. But I'd say it was it was one of them games where it made a lot of promises and kind of fell short. Or even then, like the game Mighty Number Nine, or what was it called? Ukulele, which was like made by like ex Banjo Kazooie, devs, and both of those just turned out incredibly disappointing.
I mean,
So
wouldn't
we started
would
seeing that seep into it.
Callisto Protocol count or that no?
Callisto,
Because
Callisto Protocol, no, because it doesn't. It's not really just about it had because that was a AAA studio,
mm,
but I'm talking like small teams. Like they had their own funding and everything. Stuff for like a Mighty Number Nine and Ukulele. They had to fund it mostly through Kickstarter.
okay.
Like they said, hey, these are some cool things. These are ideas we had. We're developers of whatever this game is. Give us money and we promise we'll give you a full game. They do it, but then they come out disappointing, kind of half baked. Some people like Ukulele. I didn't care for it. I mean, the art style of it was fine, but the gameplay just wasn't on point. Mighty Number Nine, that one was just hard to get through. Like, it's really bad when I bought the Mega Man Legacy Collection in spite of Mighty Number Nine, because I'm like, this just plays better and is just more fun.
Damn.
So it's just kind of a sad day.
Ow.
Hmm. Are you still hurting from being sick?
uh, it's great times, unfortunately. But
hmm
to
So,
mix things up a
what's your
little
next
bit,
one?
I was gonna say low key, and this is gonna be a big shocker. The Greek era of God of War, its gameplay. I was surprised to
It's
actually,
gameplay.
yeah, I was surprised to actually like the game, like how it did things. Like I get, would that be hack and slash, right? That's hack and slash,
Yeah,
right?
it's Hack and Clash.
Yeah, hack and slashers, like in my brain, when I was younger, before I was just like, okay, well, this is cool. How many combos can I get? I was like, this is stupid. They just keep coming back. Like, what am I doing here? Because I was like, why won't they die or whatever like that? Because it's just you're just endlessly mashing and mashing and mashing and mashing. So I was like, yeah, there's some stories need padding and stuff, right? But it's like I just want to get to the good stuff. Like to be fair, on a journey, like in Norse God of War, you fight little ads and stuff, but like it makes sense. But to the degree of the Greek saga, you're just like, you telling me all of these enemies were just chilling here, just so happens to be waiting
Oh,
on
it's one
me?
of those things where it's like, so I'm guessing maybe you might like or might dislike the Bayonetta or Devil May Cry series because they're kind of the same thing where it's like you go into a big area, explore this cool area, a bunch of enemies just pop out of nowhere, and you just hack and slash until the game says you can move forward.
Pretty much, because the whole concept of it and sounds like it would be stupid, but it's everything that they do to like counterbalance the stupidity with humor, cool action, good finishers, costumes, the characters actually being cool makes up for it. So it's like that
Hmm.
part was just really surprising because when I
And all of
really
them
thought
have
about it,
like
it was
just
just
different
like,
things about it.
yeah,
Especially like Ninja Gaiden, that's still just as brutal, but it's all based on like ninja combat. God of War back in the day, it was more just honest to God. I think I've said it before, but it's like God of War was basically an angrier Devil May Cry,
Dante's
which
Inferno is just a more religious version of that, or
Darksiders
Catholic
2,
religious.
Darksiders 2. Those are just basically a little less violent of a version of God of War, basically, is how I would kind of describe it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of get where you're coming from there, especially like the Norse saga. What it did, in my opinion, which was great, was they made the combat just more, focused, centralized. The more over the shoulder, the more, instead of like a bunch of enemies in front of you, there would be like, 3 to 5 at max in front of you, but it also made the combat feel more weighty and satisfying, like it was more of a chess match. And meanwhile, in the older games, while they were fun, sometimes it was just let me mash these buttons until I get through it. Now, in harder difficulties, that's not possible. Even on medium difficulty, I remember it was a little bit after, like it was during that bridge scene where like you had a gem that made you see from the eye perspective of the statue.
Hmm.
And then there were these things, like these lizard things, that would come in and parry me all the time. And even on normal difficulty, I'm like, okay, I can't just mash through these guys. I actually have to like think about what I'm doing. So sometimes a lot of it was just mindless. Some of it you had to think of it. Sometimes games like that
The
are
more
just funner when
mindless
you.
portion is like the issue, but once you can get past that,
Mhm. That's why I think one of those games, if you want a little bit of a deeper experience, maybe you should like up the difficulty. Because not only are they a little bit harder to kill, but at the same time, you will get a more rewarding experience because it made you think like I actually had to think to get out of this.
you
I
can't
couldn't just
just you can't
mash.
you can't just you gotta you know what I'm saying? That hurts so
Not
much.
fully. Why did that hurt?
Body's achy, my boy,
Well, then
but
stop moving so much.
I can't help it.
You can help it. So basically, hack and slashes are some of your games that you didn't think you would like, but yeah, kind of grew into loving, right?
Nah, not really. I just thought the stories were fine. Hack and slashes are quite boring, to be honest.
Hmm. Well, man, the whole point of this episode
I know. I
was
was kidding.
that's karma. That is absolute karma, and I don't feel bad for you for a second anymore. I felt bad because you've been sick for a few days, but I don't feel that bad no more. Because you just lied to my face. Kiwi, bite. Bite him.
Kiwi ain't biting
Just,
me.
hmm. But we'll get on to in what is my biggest game franchise, or not even franchise, but basically type of games I did not think I would be into. And for the longest time when I was young, I knew about these games. I tried some of these games. They weren't for me at the time. But then as I moved out of my parents' house as I got my own place. I decided to
Ooh,
put
this
the time
suspenseful
into.
buildup is crazy.
I know. I spent time actually getting in there, and let's just say I spent some time getting good at these type of games, and that is the Souls games. Now, I said before in our very first episode, I said Bloodborne was my absolute favorite game of all time, and I still stand by that. And it was the very first Souls game I ever beat. Very first Soulsborne game I have ever beaten. And from there, I jumped laterally to Sekiro. I beat Sekiro. I beat Dark Souls 1. I beat Dark Souls 3. I beat Elden Ring. Now, the only two games that are yet to beat are Dark Souls 2 and Demon Souls. But Demon Souls, I'm still pretty into it. There's just one area. I don't remember what it's called, but it's like a graveyard area, and basically you have these ghosts that shoot kamehamehas at you, and it's just annoying to get through because I made it all the way to the bottom, and then I accidentally got killed by one of the Kamehameha dudes. And then what that is, it has the old school Souls checkpoint system, meaning I have to go through all of that again. And just like Bloodborne, you have to farm for your healing items. It's not just something that automatically responds. But yeah, basically Souls games were one of those games that I remember playing Dark Souls Prepare to Die edition with my brother as a kid. I never made it to the first boss ever because the game was so brutal to me and so difficult, and me and my dumb child brain just couldn't comprehend the art of getting good or how to make a build or how to make my character good with this or whatnot, how the leveling system
What
worked.
not?
And I was one of those kids. I just refused to play the game by its rules and try just brute forcing my way through it. And Dark Souls is not a game for that.
Listen, you don't have to do that. You just go in there and be flashy, boy. Yeah,
I look like
flashy.
a Muppet. No Muppet says that.
This one
No,
does.
no Muppet. Yeah,
Yeah, high
sure.
five, Kiwi.
Mm-hmm.
High
But
five.
yeah, so Souls games, I
Good job.
remember I had Elden Ring for a while, but then I deleted it just because I never saw myself beating it. Even when you guys were helping me, I didn't see myself beating it just because you guys knew what to do. I didn't. You guys helped me, but I didn't feel satisfying, beating it. And
Knew what we
then I
were
had
doing.
Sekiro. Yeah.
Hilarious.
But then I went to Sekiro, and then
Kiwi.
I couldn't. I'd never got to the first boss of Sekiro before I deleted that game too. Actually, I had the physical copy because I got it for Christmas of 2019 when it came out, and I sold it just because at the time I'm just like I'm never going to get good at these games. I'm just never going to be good. I'm just not someone that plays hard games. Until I moved out, I stopped being a little bitch. I got in there, and finally I beat Bloodborne because everyone was saying it was great. But me, I'm like, huh? That Souls like game that, what are you doing? Is your ADHD that bad right now?
I was listening.
Mm hmm. Uh, yeah, but you had to do that thing that,
Oh, yeah. That's because I was fidgeting with it. I'm over here.
hmm. You will
Um,
never convince me you don't have got ADHD. I'm just saying.
but I don't.
But just because it's undiagnosed don't mean it's not there. But anyway, we're moving forward.
But I don't.
Where basically basically Bloodborne was the game where again I took the time, I beat it, I got the ending. The game moves on without me, and I spent a year trying to beat it, and now I can blitz through that game in 5 hours. And now that's with every Souls game except for something like Dark Souls 3. That one still takes me like a week to do. Just because I feel like the maps are still so spread out, and some of the bosses in that game are a little bit more brutal, especially the Abyss Watchers. Fuck the Abyss Watchers. I've beaten them. I've beaten them so many times, but I die to them so many times. I just can't get a handle on their moveset, and I don't know what it is about them. But yeah, that's my rant on Souls games. Where it's just one of those games where I very much believe Souls games should never have a difficulty because that is part of their identity. And it's one of those things I'm very glad and very happy that I trudged through just simply for the satisfaction of these games seem impossible, but if you take the time to learn the game's mechanics, you learn the game's world, you learn enemy placements, you learn how the boss moves, you learn what they're weak against, what they're strong against, it's one of the most rewarding experiences in all of gaming history. Mic drop.
If that bitch would have broke, I would have laughed.
I would have, but I also would have felt bad because this, well, it wasn't super expensive. It wasn't that cheap. Yeah. Anyway, Bruce, what do you got to say about all that?
Honestly, I don't see what was the negatives because that just sounded like you just did your entire Dark Souls or your Souls game's origin story.
Yeah, but very. But because this section wasn't really about negativity.
No,
It
no,
was
no, it
about
wasn't. I know, but I was like, you didn't think you were gonna like it because it was hard.
yeah, yes, because as a child, like I didn't even do Nuzlocke for Pokemon because I was just so scared of it being hard
Low
and
key,
failing.
bro, you just that's one. I never thought I would like the game's Pokemon. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really did it
Hmm.
because I thought the whole idea of monster catching was dumb as shit. Because I'm like, how you walk me through how a child catches a dragon that is 3 inches shorter than it, but the dragon has no problem listening to this child. Oh no, I'd smoke that child.
But yet you like Digimon.
Yeah, but that's because they're digital creatures. They're Tamagotchis, bro. And then that's when I was like, wait a minute. No, but it was the games. I didn't. The shows were fine. The games I thought were dumb as shit because it just didn't. They didn't make sense. I didn't at the back then. You can vouch because you're a Pokemon fucker. They didn't have navigation, so figuring out where to go wasn't the easiest thing in the world to do. And on top
Hmm.
of that, it was like all the new features that were introduced that were probably shadow dropped at that point in time. Too much shit going on. I'm like, no, I'm cool. I'll just watch the show. That shit's dumb. I just saw a gnat fly on your screen. I'm concerned.
Yeah, this thing is really annoying. I keep killing a bunch of them, but they keep spawning somewhere.
Yeah.
But eh, but yeah, anyway, that is some interesting criticism from you, in my opinion, mainly just because. Again, sometimes I think the way you view games kind of gets in your way. Like, if you don't, if just like you said, you didn't like Doom at first, and I don't know if you still like Doom, mainly because you had the super shotgun, you aimed at an enemy's chest, you shot it, but the enemy didn't die immediately, and you're just like, man, this game's bullshit. This game's ass. It sucks. Why wouldn't something die from from a shotgun to the chest? Like, this game's bullshit.
That was just me being mad about the fact that I have a thing called a super shotgun, and if I shoot you point blank in the chest with something that is known as a super shotgun, you're not super dead. That my opinion,
Well,
that
yeah,
makes sense.
they're demons. They're
That
super enhanced
most of them
demons.
can't take the shot. That's all I'm saying.
Some of them can't, some can. The stronger variants very much can.
Then it's not that much of a super shotgun.
It
Just
is because it
saying.
can destroy anything in one to two hits. Super shotgun is like one of the most like broken weapons in the game. It's just like, yeah, for bigger enemies, sure, it takes maybe an extra hit or two, but still.
So that's 3. You just myth busted your own myth.
No, I
That
didn't.
hurt.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I said that takes an extra hit or two.
Yeah, on top of the additional 1 and 2.
I didn't say the original one or two. I said it might take an additional hit from the original one.
No, you didn't. You didn't say that, dog.
Yeah, I say small enemies die in one hit. The other enemies might die in 2 to 3. So when I say
Nah, you said
they,
1 to 2 at first. Now you're changing your shit.
no,
I'm
I didn't.
I'm watching. I listened. I'm recording it. I promise you.
Yeah, and I promise you, I said the lower enemies will die in one hit. The other ones will die in two, and maybe an additional 2 or 3 hits. So no, I didn't myth bust.
That's your own myth,
Again, your
dog.
ADHD is just trying to catch me lacking.
No, just because it's okay. You can say the wrong thing every once in a while.
I did not say the wrong thing. You just like trying to catch me in a lie.
I didn't catch. It's not a lie. You just said the wrong thing.
No, I didn't. I absolutely did not. Okay, now we're arguing about this. No, I didn't. I just said an additional 2-3 hits, and that was on top of the 1 hit for the normal enemies.
You said 1 to 2 for most. Just saying.
Yeah, 1 or 2. It says 1 for normal enemies. You usually like the regular thugs or the ones with arms, or even then just the regular ones that just spawn for ammo farming. And you just cut those guys in half. Usually, you don't even bother with your weapons.
Hey! Those are my thingies. What are you doing?
But the stronger ones, yeah, they can take more of a hit. Anyway, that was Doom. We're back on Pokemon. Where basically that is interesting that like for some reason that to you didn't really speak to you just because you couldn't get past the catching mechanic.
Well, yeah, is this realistically how early Pokemon, how they just handled things was so like foreign and confusing to me because I don't really remember how I got through.
Is it, hang on. How is it forward yet confusing?
I said foreign,
you get
not
confused
forward.
walking a straight line?
I said foreign, not forward, actually.
I heard forward, so that's my bad.
Myth busted. I'm right there. 2 for 2, baby.
That's not even a myth. That's not a myth bust. That's just me mishearing.
That's myth busted.
That's not a myth bust. You deserve all that pain. I'm sorry.
It is what it is. But yeah, no, I was just like being a younger child, experiencing those things and not having like the current capacity to process games like I do now. Obviously, like then me just trying to be like, what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? Why can this do this? Why can't I do that with this? What's happening? I thought this was supposed to be like easy. What's going on? Because I was like, I guess you could argue that Pokemon and like other games that didn't hold your hand at all were just too difficult for a child me at the time. So I was like, I don't fucking like this. Take it back.
Half the time, even then, there are a lot of Pokemon games I never completed because I didn't know where to go. But at the time as a kid, I didn't really care that much. I just like going to the gyms and then catching and seeing all the different mons.
Yeah, because you would be surprised how often I stayed in the first area just like fighting Pidgeys thinking I was doing something.
It
was kind of hilarious.
But now you've kind of grown to semi-like Pokemon, hence why you're probably getting wins and waves.
Gotta get a Switch 2 first.
Well, get on it. Get up on it.
No, that's you forgot to say pause.
Pause.
No pause.
Myth busted.
That's the Kiwi, the myth itself.
She looks like a skeleton. She looks like her face was a skeleton from down under your disc. Aw. Kiwi here to wrap up the episode. Kiwi, wrap up the episode. That's okay, Kiwi. I got you on the assist. Well, guys, those were some games that we didn't think we would like, but maybe we've kind of grown to like later on, or maybe a mechanic we've kind of grown to like, or just a specific genre. So maybe let us know in the comments some games that you didn't think you would like, but maybe after trying them, you kind of grew to love it for some reason or another. All right. But anyway, guys, make sure you guys like, save, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.